Hey, what's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. Cryptocurrencies are collapsing today, and definitely a rough day across the crypto markets. Over the past 24 hours, a lot of cryptocurrencies down around 10 to 20%. And right off the bat, at the beginning of this video, I wanted to give a big shout out to my Twitter. I've been very active on there, constant updates. I actually talked about a potential drop here in this tweet 19 hours ago. I said that Bitcoin fell back below its downtrend line and that we were likely going to test the end of the symmetrical triangle formation with a price target of $7,250 in the next few days, and any move after that will set the trend. So we did end up testing that $7,250 mark on the Bitcoin chart, and unfortunately we broke lower than that, right? We broke below our uptrend line, and I'll cover that in more detail during the technical analysis side of things. But now we're going to be in for a bit more downside most likely. We have to see if we can get a bounce soon, because if not, we're probably going to be heading back towards $5,000, and this could be, weeks to month longs of bear market now. So I'm going to go into that in more detail. Please remember that nothing I mention is financial advice. I'm just here to share my personal opinion and to talk about some news. Nothing really created this market drop. One thing that some people are speculating is price manipulation. Of course, there's a CFTC probe going on. Price manipulation is definitely a possibility here. I think that it's several factors. We've been in a more bearish market. We haven't been doing much. We've been pretty flat. So eventually, you're going to see a move in some kind of direction. And I think that there's just not enough people right now who are buying is what it comes down to, right? We don't have that same type of buying pressure as we did during that big, mainstream moment that we had back in December. So when you don't have that kind of buying pressure, it's hard for prices to really sustain themselves, especially when, there's maybe manipulation at play. We've seen that with the futures and stuff like that. So with that being said, we're going to jump right into the technical analysis now. And I'll also mention on my Twitter that to talk a little bit about the upcoming critical support levels, we have $6,500 for Bitcoin, $500 for Ethereum, and $100 for Litecoin. These are basically, the levels that we really don't want to move below, and that's kind of the last straw, right? Is staying above those levels. So also something interesting is that I mentioned how many news and influencer sources in the cryptocurrency space are very biased, and they don't even mention, the days where things are going bad. And I make sure to always cover, both sides of things, whether it's going good or more bearish. And that's something to pay attention to, I think, right, is how there is, a certain amount of bias and manipulation in the cryptocurrency community, unfortunately. So let's get started with the Bitcoin technical analysis. What happened is we tested our downtrend line, and we basically came crashing lower from there. Now, what's interesting is that we're trading below our lower Bollinger Band, which that's pretty uncommon. It can lead to a quick bounce back above that level. So we'll see if that happens. Pretty big selling volume as well here. We're coming back towards that 30 line on the RSI. And to be honest, at this point, here's what I think is going to happen and how low I think we're going to go. So I think that we're most likely going to test $6,500. That's our critical support level. And from there, I think the best case scenario at this point is going to be a slight bounce and then just some extended consolidation between $6,500 and $8,000. But it's very likely that we do end up testing $6,500 and that we move below that, right? Because for now, no real signs of stopping, and we're putting in these lower highs. So I think that a move below $6,500 will very quickly push us down to $5,000, which has been kind of a long time coming for some people. I've seen multiple comments saying how Bitcoin was going to go back towards $4,000, $5,000, and it didn't seem, that clear over the past few weeks. But now it's definitely looking like a real possibility here, and something that I think has a fair chance of happening. So as far as the support levels ahead below $6,500, it's going to be $5,000, and any move below that would be pretty quick down to our uptrend line, which is at around $4,300. However, if we lose $5,000 or our longer term uptrend line here, that is going to be extremely bearish. And either way, I think we're in for a little bit more downside. And if we break those other major support levels, meaning our uptrend line, that's going to be, a multi-month long bear market, I believe. Let's go ahead, take a look at Ethereum now, see what's going on. So Ethereum is coming down to its uptrend line, slightly moving below that. We'll see if we're able to get back above that. That will be a good sign. But either way here, the markets are definitely taking some damage. And our critical support level for Ethereum is pretty clear. It's $500. Any move below that will likely push us down to $369, which was our low over here. And if we move below that, once again, it's going to be like Bitcoin. That's going to be a loss of a major long-term support level, and we can expect much more downside if we do end up moving below that $369 mark. But any move below $500 will be very bearish nonetheless. Let's go ahead and take a look at Litecoin, see what's going on. So Litecoin is currently coming down to its uptrend line. The good thing here is it does have, kind of a double layer of support with that $100 mark, and we have some time to reach the end of our symmetrical triangle formation, so that could still happen. That would obviously be the better case scenario here. However, if we see, over the next 2 days, more downside, more sharp downside, and we don't get a swift bounce, we're probably going to lose that $100 support level, and then we're in for, basically going back to where we were previously before this whole run-up even happened, right? And that's going to be the case for a lot of cryptocurrencies. If they end up losing these last critical support levels, we're probably going to go back and basically have completely wiped out all the gains that we made over the past few months and rest along those previous levels that we're at before this whole run-up even happened. So let's go ahead and take a look at EOS now. Then we're going to go for Nano and Ripple, continue on with our normal schedule. But taking a look at EOS, we can see that it's actually holding up pretty decently. We're basically kind of flat, and we're probably going to test this uptrend line very shortly here. If we drop below that, that's when we might start seeing a bit more downside. We haven't officially came back and tested that 13,000 Satoshi level, and seeing how the market is turning more and more bearish by the day here. If we do see a drop below the uptrend line, I think that there's going to be a good chance that we test back our breakout area at 13,000 Satoshis. Let's take a look at Nano now. Nano dropped below 50,000 Satoshis. It's been consolidating right above that level for several days now, and a drop below that 50,000 Satoshi level is not good. That's very bearish. So unless we're able to get back above that quickly here over the next 2-3 days, I think that we're going to start tanking lower below 50,000 Satoshis, and I'm expecting multiple weeks of bearish movement if we're not able to quickly get back above 50,000 Satoshis. Like I mentioned, that 50,000 Satoshi support level is a big round number that we did not want to move below, and unfortunately here the market is just not looking strong enough to give cryptos any kind of boost. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Ripple, see what's going on. So going over to the Bittrex chart, we can see that Ripple dropped below its uptrend line. It's actually been maintaining above that longer term uptrend line for quite some time here, and as you can see, now we're going to be heading back down to 50 cents. We do have some support here at our lower Bollinger Band, so if we're able to stay above that, that's of course very ideal. But at this point, I think that it's quite likely that we test 50 cents, and if we move below that, we're going to be heading right back down to our initial breakout area before this whole huge run-up, which is at 30 cents, and retest that level, probably start consolidating around that area. Basically, going back to where we were months ago before this whole run-up even happened. Pretty sad, but, you have to adapt, and it does come with a certain opportunity, right, of maybe being able to really buy in at some cheap levels down the line. But for now, my personal move is just patience and waiting for things to really clear up, because it's getting pretty messy. Once again, not financial advice, just my personal opinion. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next crypto. That's going to be Stellar Lumens. Going over to the Binance chart, we can see that Stellar Lumens is dropping slowly but surely lower, coming down to its middle band. Its range is pretty clear here. We're trading between 3,500 and 4,000 Satoshis. Any move below 3,500 Satoshis will probably push us down to 2,500 Satoshis. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next crypto, which is going to be, next up is going to be Vertcoin. And let's see what's going on. So Vertcoin dropping lower in this $1 range. That's what I predicted. I think that at this point we're likely going to test $1 or even move below that. Vertcoin being one of the smaller cryptocurrencies out there, it's going to be hard for it to sustain itself in this type of market. I think that we're heading to $1 or even lower over the next few weeks. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be, Lisk, and let's see what's going on. So Lisk is dropping down to its downtrend line. might have a little bit of support there, but at this point, the drop is speeding up, and very likely that we tested $6.24. Any move below that will basically put us back into these consolidation areas at around $4, or even worse would be $2. But that's basically where we were pre-breakout, where we got this huge run up, right? We basically got a big head and shoulders candlestick formation, and that's quite bearish actually. So I think we're in for more downside here, to be honest. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency. That's going to be Cardano. See what's going on. Cardano is currently holding up pretty decently, actually. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Bittrex chart where I have my previous lines drawn out. But it's actually not experiencing a huge red candlestick like other cryptocurrencies. We actually have a hammer doji candlestick coming back towards our downtrend line. It's going to be hard to be able to move higher here either way, but I think that we are probably going to test 2,500 satoshis. Of course, the ideal thing is that we trade between 2,500 and 3,000 satoshis. But our lower Bollinger Band is starting to move below that 2,500 Satoshi level, and that could be a hint at a drop down to 2,000 Satoshis now. Definitely in the cards, especially if we break below 2,500 Satoshis. Let's go ahead and take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. That's going to be IOTA. IOTA, huge, inversion here, and we're going back below $1.47. Lower Bollinger Band pointing lower now. I'd say pretty high chance of testing $1.13. Basically, most likely going to go back towards that $1 area. And if we move below that, that's when we're going to be heading, right back down to where we were previously at around 33 cents here. So pretty similar to Ripple, where we're going to have removed all the gains that we made, after the initial run up. With that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.